I just was listening as Jan Latta was doing her her segment here for TV, and she was saying that with the success of the two Simones at the Olympics, that we are expecting that the name Simone will become extraordinarily popular in this country. What did you say it was? 823rd most popular name for girls.
That's going to jump.
That's a great name. We named my daughter Nicole, and one of the things that we liked about it was we had just been, when we found out that we were expecting, we had recently been in France, and there's just something about the whole French thing we kind of liked. We wanted a name that had a little bit of a Frenchified feeling to it. And Simone certainly has that. I think it's a very pretty name. Here's the question about Simone. Does it have a shortened?
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
What do they call you?
Nicole, you go Nikki.
Right.
My daughter Sydney, you go Sid.
Sid. My son Steven is Steve or Stevie.
My son's Mike and Jake. There's not a whole lot you do with
Wasn't
that.
your son Michael?
Well, I mean, it's Mike and Jake. I mean,
but his name is Michael, and you call him Mike.
Calls it. Okay, that's you know.
Well,
okay.
but my point is, you named him Michael, and you're happy with the short version of the name.
Yes. What is that?
Is Jake Jacob?
Jacob, yes.
He is Jacob.
He is Jacob.
So he does. It fits both criteria.
Yeah. Okay. Not in the way I'm thinking.
Well, what way are you thinking?
A different way.
Well, give me some insight into this way. You named them something that the shortened version of it you like. No?
Yeah, I just don't think of it that way.
On your son Jake's birth certificate, does it say Jacob?
I believe so, yeah.
No, not you believe so.
Yeah.
You named him. Is his name Jacob, or is it just Jake?
Jacob. It's Michael and Sydney.
Okay, fair enough. So same with mine. My kids are Nicole and Steven, but people call them Nikki, and Stevie has actually become a Stevie, which I never would have thought he would. But either way, I'm assuming when he gets a little older.
So we're asking what Simone goes to.
What would Simone be? Like my best friend growing up was named Simon, and everyone called him Sime.
You did?
Yes.
Sime?
Sime. Yeah. I mean, that's just the shortened version of Simon.
Sim?
Yes,
Are we calling her
that's what I'm
Sim?
saying. That's my only knock on the name Simone.
Yeah.
Is it doesn't have, I was very specific when we were naming our kids that it has to be a name that when you go to the conventional shortening of it, you have to like it just as much.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
That was a prerequisite. So that's the issue with Simone. Because, when you're kids, I mean, at any point in your life, it sounds very formal to always be referring to someone by a long name
Stephen,
like that.
Michael, Jacob, yeah. I know, I'm with you.
So that would be my only issue with the name Simone.
Yeah,
Other than that, I love it. I think it's a very pretty name.
I like the name. I think it's a very pretty name, but this is exactly what I was thinking.
I'm
what
being told Simmy.
Simmy?
Simmy.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I don't like it as much either.
No.
Simmy Biles.
No.
Kind of loses something.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what, though. She is unbelievable.
Not done either. She just won on the vault, the gold, so she has 3 gold. The team all-around gold. Her individual all-around gold. She just won on the vault gold. She still has the balance beam and the floor exercise, of which, oh, by the way, there's already a move she does on the floor named after her. So she has a chance still for more gold. It's incredible.
I'm going to make a ridiculous comparison with her.
No, not you. You always do this. Go ahead.
The comparison to make to her is going to be to a young Michael Vick. Michael Vick entered a sport with the most ridiculously athletic people in the entire world. And the second you watched him, just me, I'm not a scout, I'm not a coach, I'm just a fan. I'm like, oh, that guy's different. He has a gear everyone else doesn't have. Simone Biles competes in a sport with the greatest athletes in the world. I mean, these gymnasts, I was watching the men doing gymnastics yesterday for a while. They were on the pommel horse. And, they make it look so easy. The stuff they're doing is impossible.
These are the best of the best, and she separates herself from them.
And even I, who know nothing about gymnastics, watch this young woman, Simone Biles, and I say, oh, she's just different from everybody else. She's just doing stuff at a level that no one else is even approaching.
And that's what we talk about. Her, a different level. We talk about Usain Bolt at a different level. We talk about Phelps at a different level. We talk about Katie Ledecky.
See, Katie Ledecky, I think, more fits that.
At a different level.
Phelps is just the best. A lot of times people are the best. He doesn't look like he's performing in a different sport.
You're looking at it right now,
else.
but you're talking overall. He was at a different level. When he had so many world records,
right?
And he was, and the thing about it is kind of like Simone in different things,
right?
Different disciplines. With Usain Bolt, it's the 100, it's the 200, it's the relay. I'm not going to sit there and bang on him for not being in more, but I mean, he's dominating what he does.
No, but he doesn't run the marathon, right? And so Katie Ledecky wins the sprint.
To me,
and she
one of the
wins
most amazing
marathon.
things is Katie Ledecky, because the comparison I make to you is in track, get to the miler. And does that miler, whoever the dominant miler is, do they win the sprint? Do they win the mile, and do they win the 200-meter dash? That's Katie Ledecky.
Right.
She wins the mile, and she wins the 200-meter dash, the 200 freestyle in her case. That, to me, is one of the more amazing things. Because with Simone Biles, you have the different disciplines, obviously, that she's going through. That, again, one, the vault, these uneven bars, there's the beam and the floor. So there are different disciplines. With Phelps in his heyday, and it's still pretty darn good, you had the 4 IM, the 2 IM, the 2 fly, the 1 fly, the relays. He's pared that down some, but still impressive in the different disciplines. So that's what I mean. They're all in a grouping as far as how they're dominating. Right now, as far as dominating beyond belief, is Simone and Katie.
Yeah.
Those two have kind of put like so much distance between themselves and the next person. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I wanted to put up a Twitter poll about them on Friday night, and you threatened to break my fingers.
Sure did. Just dislocate it, not break it.
I would say for me, and again, I'm only a casual viewer of the Olympics. You're much better than I am. My favorite performance or performer to watch thus far has been Simone Biles.
Well, the thing about it is you watch her, and I get what you're saying, because you watch her, and while she's dominating it, you get to see in the floor exercise 4 passes. So 4 times her it makes your jaw drop. Whereas Katie, you see her after the beep goes off, you see her ahead of everybody and just say ahead of everybody. She's not doing the passes and doing anything spectacular like flipping and jumping and all that. She's just swimming and destroying everybody. So from an aesthetic look, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're watching somebody swim 8 laps of a pool and just be way faster than everybody else, as opposed to someone flipping and throwing their body all over the place.
Yes, you're correct. Katie Ledecky is doing the same thing everyone else is doing it. She's just doing it faster. Yeah. Simone Biles seems to be doing stuff no one else on the planet can do. Anyway, it just sort of jumped into my head. By the way, if you missed Doug Peterson today, he was on in hour number 2. Andy Reid in hour number 3. Michael Irvin in hour number 4. Good time to remind you, you can listen to all 4 hours of Mike and Mike on demand in the ESPN app. And you can subscribe to the Best of Mike and Mike podcasts, all available in the Listen tab of the ESPN app.
Today's top 5 has really been forced on us by Usain Bolt and Michael Phelps, the 2 Olympic titans who are just going nuts right now. So we've crafted our top 5.
Yes.
Together again, greatest Olympians ever. And I'm going to start right away with this Soviet gymnast, Larissa Latina. Yeah. By the way, that's what Olympic venues looked like back in the 50s and 60s when Larissa was doing her thing.
Oh, so elegant.
Yes. She won 14 individual medals, Carrie. 14 individual medals.
Wow.
All around twice, 56 and 60. You know who this guy is?
No, I do not.
That's the flying Finn, Paavo Nurmi.
Wow.
Paavo.
David, you went back.
Well, I went way back. 9 gold medals. On one day, he won the 5,000, took an hour break, and then won the 1,500.
Wow.
Who made that schedule? And he ran with a stopwatch in his hand, just to make sure.
Just because.
Number 3, the man, Jesse Owens.
Yes.
1936, Berlin. Thumbed his nose at Adolf Hitler up in the box. Won the 100, the 200, the long jump part of the 1x400 relay. Did his level best to ruin the Nazi Olympics. Number 2,
this
here's
guy.
the big debate. Is it Bolt or is it Phelps? I went with Usain Bolt, although I was saying earlier, there's no one in sports I'd rather watch do anything than Usain Bolt running those last 50 meters. Just unbelievable. But I went with Phelps because of all the medals, 28 in all, 23 gold, yada, yada, yada. I just felt like this guy's still splashing around at the age of 31. He gets my nod.
Yeah, and that is going to be the constant debate. Who is the better Olympian? Is it going to be Bolt? Is it going to be Phelps? It's subjective, I think. I mean, the way Bomani made a good case for it.
He did.
Here's my top 5. I'm completely out of the loop here. Mine are all off, but here we go. Number 5, Carl Lewis.
Yep.
You remember that guy? Won 4 golds in the 1984 Olympics right in Los Angeles.
Hello.
But when will LA get the Olympics again? That's another story. We'll talk about that.
That's not in this top 5.
Coming in at number 4, Larissa Latina. Did we get it correct?
Latina?
Yeah.
Listen, our judge will be able to give
us the right name on that for sure. All right, 14 individuals, as David just said, and coming in at number 3 for me. So this is where we do our back and forth. I went with Michael Phelps. Like, I absolutely agree.
You had Phelps at 3.
To me, 1, 2, and 3 are all the same, and I'll tell you why. Like, come on. I could argue that he's a top Olympian. I mean, I really could. But number 2 for me was Usain Bolt.
You got Bolt over?
Yeah,
okay.
I can flip and I can flop, but I'm going to go with number 1 with Jesse Owens. because of the conditions, what he had to deal with, what he did at that time. I felt like, to me, when you are running under, there's always this pressure, right, at number one, but you're running under these racist conditions, and it was hard. I couldn't even imagine what he had to deal with, but yet he pressed on and was able to get 4 gold medals in spite of. And so to me, I put it in perspective. It paved the way for the Usain Bolts and the Michael Phelps and everyone else. So that was my top 5.
It's a well-constructed argument. I have no complaints with it. Here we go. Our top 5 back-to-back. Harry went Jesse Owens, Usain Bolt, Michael Phelps. I went Michael Phelps, Usain Bolt, Jesse Owens.
I did all the same.
Pavo Nurmi thrown in on the side.
Yeah.
Carl Lewis, yada, yada. So, who we have here? We got Frank Caliendo as our guest critiquer.
There it is.
What your thoughts on the top 5s, Frank?
Well, I thought we'd do a little Morgan Freeman.
Oh,
to figure
okay.
out what's the best way to possibly do it. But I don't know if you mentioned that I was going to be on the fantasy football thing that's coming up too.
Yes,
oh, you're going to get to that. Frank trying to plug himself and not giving all
He's
the anchors
producing the
their
show
turn
now.
to do what they need to do. See, that was just terrible. Now I was going to Charles Barkley. It's never your top 5 lists are knuckleheaded lists. Very good, but in a way kind of average. But then Caliendo, what it did was just stole what you said. So here we go.
Who do we have?
We're going to take a look at number 5 of the greatest athletes of all time in the Olympics. I would have to say, Larissa Latania. I'm not even sure how to say it. I just wanted to try and pronounce it.
A lot of
Is
fun
that her
today.
name?
I wasn't sure if that was the way to go.
Would you
Usain
went with-
Bolt. Never has a better name been for a man than Usain Bolt. And of course, Sean O'Neal, table tennis.
Oh,
He's a friend of mine. That's why I put it in.
We're like,
I just
who?
want to make it Michael Phelps because we're on Sports Center. You have to mention Michael Phelps and Jesse Owens, a man who ran in the most difficult conditions of all time and came away with 4 gold medals and 2 world records. There we go.
There you go.
Again,
So-
Sean O'Neal is
He's a
Good
friend.
friend.
He taught me how to play table tennis, how to play ping pong. So
Eddie
I can
medals
work it
or
in.
Eddie?
No. The medals aren't important. It's not winning that's important at the
It's
Olympics.
not?
It's participating. I don't know what you guys are thinking.
Yeah, Sean O'Neal, my bad.